Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our series on cultivating inner resources for challenging times. As we have noted, these are challenging times. This is our first pandemic, and all of the changes that it's asking of us in terms of our movements, in terms of our home environments, our work environments, and just how we relate to the world, the freedom that we don't have anymore in our relation to the world is impacting us. So welcome, I'm glad that you're here. So the idea behind the series is that there's no guarantee that we're going to get sick, but there is a guarantee that we're going to be facing change and uncertainty and perhaps a little bit of fear. So developing internal resources, in addition to the external ones that we've been asked to develop, the hand washing, the social distancing, so on, developing those inner resources can help us navigate these times. So today our theme is opening to our hearts, and the skill is the ability to sense into the wildness in ourselves. And I'll unpack that in a second. I'm going to be using poetry to help us settle into the skills, and the reason is that poetry speaks a metaphorical language, and even something written, decades ago by someone else about their heart can teach us something about our hearts and how we might use our hearts to navigate these challenging times. So as I read the poem, again, just allow yourself to be here, allow the words to settle in whatever ways they need to in you. Our theme today is settling into our hearts. We're all settling into new spaces, literally and figuratively, and having open hearts can help us remain resilient. The poem that came to mind today was Mary Oliver's The Summer Day. Hopefully a good reminder that summer is coming. And so here is Mary Oliver's The Summer Day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down in the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? So that question that Mary Oliver is asking us, what is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? That's a really challenging question. It can be a deep challenge for us to identify, what it is that we want to do or will do with our lives. That question's oftentimes the one that brings terror into our hearts. What am I going to do with my life? It seems almost unanswerable at times. And nowadays, it's even more complicated by the ambiguity of, when is life going to go back to normal? So I want to encourage you to think about the opportunity that, going back to normal gives us now. When that happens, we will have had all of this space where we were given time to really think about how we relate to our homes, our work, our futures, the people we have in our lives. Tuning into what our hearts are asking of us, listening carefully to that still small voice inside is hard, but it's necessary during times like this, and especially because it will inform how we will live our lives when things do return to normal, whatever that might be. So now is a good time to notice all of the wild around us, to ground in the natural world that goes on. It's a good reminder that things will continue, that summer is coming, that the sun still shines most days, some days, that rain still falls, that the wind still blows, and that the natural world continues to keep on growing. So it's also a good way to access inner resources of wildness within us, to open our hearts to what we might learn from this time of relative isolation. I want to encourage you to notice that our hearts are wild too. We know chaos and change and adaptation. Our hearts were built to navigate a wild and changing world. Our hearts were built to navigate a wild and changing world. We may have lost touch with that, but I hope you can see some of your wildness in, a grasshopper or a blade of grass, whatever it is that speaks to you, and to sense into what your heart might be asking of you to change when this global shared experience lessens its hold on us, because it will one day. So I'll leave you again with a task and a question. Today, notice one part of the natural world that grounds you, something that makes you feel calm. It could be a tree or the sky or sun or rain. And ask yourself, what is, like the thing I noticed, what is wild in me? What is wild in me? What in me is always there that I can ground in? So, blessings and safety to everyone. Have a wonderful day. Join us tomorrow for our lesson on working with fear, and I'll see you then.